With the Mega CD playing games, it's time to wrap this restore up. Hello all and welcome back to the corner. This is part 3 of the Mega CD 2 repair, and with all the hard work past us, we just need to clean up the case and rebuild the console. After that, a well-deserved gaming session is in order, I think. So, let's get started. First up, we need to strip the case down of any parts so that we can clean the plastics. I'm trying to remove the lower RF shielding so that I can wash up the case, and there's this pesky tape holding the shield on. Yeah, there's definitely been some liquid ingress for sure. I'll also need to remove the laser RF shield too. I'm putting a towel down so that I don't scratch the top side of the case, despite the fact that the plastic is probably harder than the surface of this table. Still, it makes me feel better to do so. Over here you can see the light pipe for the disc activity light. It's plastic staked on, and without breaking the melted plastic off I can't remove it, or rather I'd need to epoxy and re-plastic weld it back on. This is fine though, as I don't actually need to remove it for cleaning anyway. I will, however, need to remove the soft opening gear which is used to softly open the lid. CD tray lid is held in place by two plastic snaps which also act as the lid hinge. Using a flat screwdriver I can carefully push these aside to remove the lid from the top cover. I was struggling to remove the lid until I realised that there were two black stickers that were preventing the drive lid from being removed. The rust continues, as you can see the lid opening spring is rusted as a result of exposure to either liquids or high humidity. The laser warning label that you see won't be affected by the water as it's plastic, but when you're cleaning your own consoles, know that any paper labels must be removed or they will dissolve in water. Another thing to remove is the Cd Lid Latching Mechanism, as I don't want the spring that is used inside to become wet and possibly rust over time. I just need to remove the latch to get to it. The eject button is the last to come out before we can get to work on cleaning it all. To sort the rusty spring out, I'm going to be using white vinegar, which works slowly to remove rust. This process will take several hours even on small parts, so whilst this is happening I'm going to go clean the rest of the case. Using some dish soap and good old labour, I'm giving these parts a clean and then rinse off with a shower. I'm using a toothbrush for cleaning in areas where the sponge won't get to, such as the vent holes in the case. However, I was a bit surprised to find that I didn't have any effect on the rusty patches on the inside of the case. There must be a chemical or physical method that would remove it, but as it's more ingrained than I thought and I've cleaned off anything else that might remain, I'll leave it for now as it won't be seen again anyway. Nothing like a freshly clean lid. I left the case to thoroughly dry for a couple of days before reassembling, lest the electronic gods shun me any further with this repair for letting moisture near electronics. First part in no particular order is the eject button mechanism, which consists of a black rod and then the red button on top. Here's the result of the spring for the lid. It's not nearly as shiny as it once was, as that gets removed with the rust, but it also appears to have developed a small amount of surface corrosion on it. However, a quick brush removes that. As with removal, there's two plastic lugs that need to be snapped into place. Well, that was violent. Probably should put that lid dampener back in. Only piece left is the CD spindle clamp. There's a single screw that removes the top metal half from the lower plastic piece. And once apart, we can rebuild them in this frame. I didn't show the removal of the spindle clamp, but now I can show how to reinstall it. There's 3 aligning notches that locate the assembly so that the clamp can only be installed in one direction. After that, it just presses into place with a resounding click. Now that the top lid is rebuilt, the motherboard, CD drive and the lower RF shields can all be installed. And then the top RF shield. Sorry Adrian, but these are staying in. The top lid goes on, and now it's just the 6 posi head screws to finish the rebuild. Right, it's high time that we actually played a game on this unit. Before that, the internal battery-backed SRAM needs to be formatted. For some reason on the Sega Mega CD2, you have to put a game disc in first before it will show the memory option, whereas you didn't need any disc in the drive on the earlier model. And now Sonic CD will load. Sonic CD is an odd one for me. I really do enjoy it, but it has a very different vibe to it over the original trilogy. For starters, the graphics are a massive and more wacky evolution over its predecessor Sonic 1, of which this is the sequel to. This compared to Sonic 2's graphics, which although an evolution, seem more tame and dare I say, more natural. The entire game feels like more of an anime world version of Sonic compared to the more westernized feeling trilogy. This is because Sonic Team with Naoto Oshima at the helm made this version with more emphasis on platforming compared to Yuji Naka's then Sega Technical Institute in the USA developing Sonic 2 to have more of a focused level design. Also, the time travel mechanic is odd and it's required to fully beat the game, at least if you consider getting all the good features and the time stones for 100% completion. The special stages as well make huge use of the Pseudo Mode 7 graphics, although it's a very floaty feeling so it can get really tricky to control Sonic. So let's recap. Originally the unit wouldn't spin a CD. I said then that it could have been a laser, but we can try to recap it and see if it helps. It didn't. Well, at least it didn't change anything initially, so I ordered a new laser and put that in. It got the discs spinning, but it still didn't read them. After a second laser, it still didn't read, and it was then I found the cold solder joints that didn't reconnect on both sides of the vias. After that, the unit ran perfectly. So do I think the recap was a bad idea? Yes. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it's a valid repair step, but as I don't have test equipment and I couldn't have told you whether they were good or bad, and the fact is, they probably weren't. This means that any damage to the motherboard or bad solder joints could have been avoided if we went for the far more common to fail laser mechanism. So when I said, then really you've got a bad laser, it probably wasn't bad after all. So, I think I'll keep this safe for now. Anyway, I think that will wrap up this little saga. I hope you've enjoyed this series, and if you have any suggestions or questions, please leave a comment below. If you liked the video and or the series, then I'd greatly appreciate a like and make sure to subscribe for future videos. Oh, and there's a bell too, maybe ring that.